going, and we'll try not to keep you guys too long. I know everybody's got stuff they got to do and get done. So, with the introductions, my name is George Idell. I'm the emergency manager, floodplain manager here in Doddridge County.
I'm Neil Romaine. I'm one of the directors at the Ambulance Authority here in Doddridge County, and I've been nominated as the LEPC chairman for anybody that wasn't here for that meeting.
We'll go around the room.
Randy Button, I'm the executive assistant for the Doddridge County Commission.
John Dawson, the 911 director.
Anissa Core, State Homeland Security and Emergency Management.
I'm Melanie Hurst, I'm on the Doddridge County Ambulance Authority Board of Directors.
Everything's Foster. Officer.
I'm Jim Foster, Conservation Supervisor for Doddridge County. Dave Richards, Vehicle Director for Company 5.
Leslie Knight, the Public Health Nurse for Doddridge County Health Department.
Amanda Sunling, Doddridge County Health Department.
Mike Mitchell, Operations Supervisor for Dominion Transmission, LL Thompson.
Brian Kinney, I'm the Marketing Director at Doddridge County EMS.
Bob Wade, Personnel Director and Operations, Doddridge County EMS.
Mike Hamilton, Executive Director, Doddridge County EMS.
Wesley Ezell, Director in the Board of Education.
Matt Alexander with the Board of Education.
Awesome. People, thank you for coming. Before we get started, has anybody got any public comments or anything they'd like to speak about before we get started? Good.
Okay, next we're going to approve December's minutes.
Actually, I've got December's and November's if anybody wants a copy of it. They can come and get a copy of the minutes that we've had.
Catch up. You want those? Yes. Just one copy? Okay.
Anybody else?
Anybody?
If you guys want to review.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a couple minutes to review them, and if there's anything you see that stands out, we can address it.
Didn't change the date, but
Okay.
that's fine. There we go. Yeah, it's not the date. That just didn't change the date. Shut that up.
Why do we have the same date on both?
That was just a computer error on my part, but they're two separate ones. One's December, one's...
Well, then shouldn't we change the dates to reflect what minutes we're talking about?
It'll be changed, yep. It'll be changed.
Are we approving 2 or 1?
2, because we didn't have a meeting last month due to the weather. So there was no meeting. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Just for the sake of confusion, I went ahead and scratched out that one.
That needs to be a motion on the floor to do that.
All right, we'll do a motion on the floor. We can do that.
Okay, I want to make the motion for the manually corrected date of December's minutes. Any second?
We'll make that motion.
Motion.
What date did you put on?
December. I just corrected that one.
This is
So you knew which one was the December one.
This is the December one?
Yes, sir. Would you like one?
No, I saw them in the newspaper.
Okay.
Did everybody have a chance to read?
I'll make a motion that we accept November and December's minutes as read. Anybody second?
Second.
Motion carries.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to ask us to make a motion. You're not supposed to make the motion. You're the chairman of this organization.
He just asked.
He said, I make a motion. You're supposed to ask us to make a motion, and then you have us to vote on it. This is not a dictatorial organization.
Nor is it trying to be set up that way, sir.
Well, do you know how to conduct a meeting?
Yes, I've been in volunteer organizational boards for
Well, then
years.
conduct it like Robert's Rules of Order says you to conduct it. Ask for a motion from the floor to approve the minutes.
In Robert's Rules of Order in small and local government organizations, the chairperson is allowed to make a motion. because
But this
it's
is
small.
not as small. You've got over 12 members sitting here, and this doesn't include all.
You have to get a motion to approve the minutes. You cannot.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as accepted with the correction for the manual date. Do we have a second for a second?
I'll
We have a
second.
I second.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any new members that would like to make applications or any applications?
Applications are up here.
You going to vote? You have a motion on the floor. Are you going to vote?
For,
The minutes. You have to vote. You have a motion, you have a second, you have to vote.
We have, point of order, can we take a poll of actual members present that have filled out the applications? That have been accepted by the commission?
You all have.
you can go ahead and read it.
So, take that poll, those are the only voting members.
Okay.
They feel.
We have to sign in. When you sign in, we should have them mark. what
If they're part of
accepted.
the member, yeah.
Yes.
But these are the applications, if you guys want them,
Yes.
I can pass them out, you guys can pass it.
That's okay. I need the extra.
And then just fill them out and pass them around. if
Didn't you
anybody
guys
wants to be a
fill those
member.
out?
Those go before the board,
Fill them out.
before the commission, and they get signed off, and then I send copies of everybody's stuff to the state to let them know who's on board and who's not.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Anybody else want one?
I know there's an application that he submitted.
Who's that? Yeah, he did. That's fine, yeah. I believe he did, yeah.
Okay, so we've got Jim, Mel, me, who else was the,
John.
okay.
Mike.
So those are the only people that are allowed to vote.
Oh,
Until you're
and-
approved.
Correct, correct, just kidding.
Now you can take the vote.
And then Cole's not here, so we'll just skip it. So we'll skip from those two.
There was one more.
Yeah, Mike in the back. Correct. We've already done the minutes, I think. So we got past Cole because Cole's not here. So we'll table Cole. And then we'll
So for the people that have been approved by the commission as members of the LEPC, we'll go ahead and take a vote for the minutes for November and December as read. Any opposed? I'm sorry?
When did the county commission ever approve the,
At the previous meetings of the commission.
Whenever they
Submits them
come around, I
whenever
give
you-
them, and
they don't vote on them?
they don't have to
They
vote
don't
on
have
it,
to
they just
vote,
have
they
to
just
sign
have
that
to
they know that
approve
they're
the
there.
meeting, the people that
Okay.
he submits. It's the same
And
as
that's
any
just
other.
a formality, that's not a, they don't have to do that. I just do that so that the commission knows that we have people on the LEPC. And it's not a requirement. Like I said, this list goes to the state. Once a year I turn in how many members we have and that kind of thing.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes for November and December by the members? Any opposed? Has been approved. Okay, we are going to table number 5, the vote for co-chairperson, because Cole had a prior meeting that he could not move since this was changed due to weather. So we will table that until next month's meeting. Okay, item 6, vote by the approved members for Randy Britton as secretary or treasurer. I'm going to make a motion that we, okay, I ask, will someone make a motion?
I make the motion that we approve Randy Britton as the secretary.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second that.
Thank you. Okay, it is on the floor to go ahead. Are all in favor of voting on Randy Britton as secretary treasurer for the LEPC?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Any opposed? Okay. Randy Britton is now the secretary treasurer for the LEPC. Okay, next item is the bylaws. We've been moving this around for the last couple of months. We worked really hard to make sure that they were updated and properly modernized since they hadn't been touched in a couple of years. So since everybody has had time to approve them, we're going to go ahead and I would like to see if someone will make a motion to approve the bylaws.
I make the motion to approve bylaws.
Any second?
Second. Are we open for discussion?
Certainly. Any questions, comments you have on them?
All right. On your bylaws, in your first sentence, committee officers,
Okay.
it says it's a quorum of the LEP shall annually elect a chairman, vice chairman at a public announced meeting not to exceed 2 years. So why would you meet annually to elect officers for 2 years? Shouldn't that be biannually? Unless you want your officers staggered.
That's how you do it, you stagger them so you don't have the same people coming in and going out.
Well, you should specify that in there, that that the officers will be staggered. You don't say that anywhere in the officers.
Like I said, we didn't change any of this. This was written by Ora Ash and Pat Easter back in 2000. So,
Well, he just said that he moderated.
And also, you don't define what your purpose is or what your authority is to have these bylaws. What is the purpose of these bylaws? What is the purpose of this organization? You don't specify that. There's nowhere in here that you have a special. What is the purpose of this organization? Why do you exist?
okay, we'll put that in.
Yeah, I can make those changes.
We'll make those changes. We will add that in. Not a problem.
What is your source of funding? You have a treasurer.
We have no funds. Right now, there's no source of funding. We'll be going for grants and that kind of thing.
Huh?
We'll be working on grants and that kind of thing. as
Well,
we go.
then have you applied for an EIN number?
I believe we have one, but I'd have to check on it and find out. We're still trying to get this going.
Some of these things are required before you can go through that
Uh-huh.
process.
We
Some
have to
of
have
these things are
a
required
board
before you can even
of
go
people.
through that process.
Okay, going over to your, on the second page, you did number, the pages are not numbered. And you say the meetings shall be held at least one per calendar quarter. And then in the next sentence, you say you're meeting monthly.
Well, it says
What
at
is
least.
it?
At least minimum, but we meet monthly, but
Well, you
we
should
meet minimum
specify.
quarterly.
Well, it says at least. At least says you have to meet at least one time. You can meet more. It doesn't say only one. It just says at least.
Then you should specify.
At least.
This is an ambiguous statement.
Jim, the purpose of this meeting is to move forward.
Well, I'm not trying to hinder you, but if you're going to move forward, move correctly.
Well, at least is not ambiguous. At says that's how most codes are written. They say this section of this will meet at least once per month, but that does not preclude them from meeting more than once a month. I'm not saying that's how it's standing there, but at least is standard verbiage in the state code. And most of that, when Pat and Nora wrote it, was taken straight from state code.
Right, this is directly from the state.
It don't make any difference, but you should have it clear what you're going to do. I think. And
We'll revisit it.
And bring it up next
Yep.
week.
We can revisit it. We'll take on any other issues you have with it?
I'd say again.
Any other issues do you have with it? Or is there anything else other than those two items?
Well, I just looked at the whole document. I think it's a very poorly written document.
Well, they took it standard from the original. It
Well,
can be approved
I'm not
upon.
saying that it's right or wrong, but it is a very, very poorly written document.
It's straight from the state, and they just kind of copied and counted it, so.
Does anybody else have any comments on the
Anybody
bylaws
else?
as they were read or changed? Comments from the previous bylaws, the new ones? Okay. So we will go ahead and table the bylaws for it to be approved till next month.
And make the corrections.
We'll make the corrections, we'll get them to everybody, and then we can vote on it next month.
All right, we'll go with the updates on the annex. Amanda and Greg, we're working on that.
Yeah, I mean, I still think we've got some more work to do. Additionally, I think we learned a lot during the snowstorm about specific sites and things like that where there's some shortcomings that we need to overcome. We found, as you know, both of you know, one that's not hooked up properly at all, and there's some other shortcomings on others. I have contacted two heating, Generac service dealers in the Clarksburg-Bridgeport area about servicing, because I don't believe, as I can see, since they've been installed, they've not been serviced at all. And I don't know if there's warranty information on them or model numbers or anything like that.
I've got a listing of them. They
Okay.
sent it to the original installer sent it to me a couple
Okay.
times, week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Cool, well, that's good, then I'll get that because we can get that to them. But I'm getting like a quote from a couple different Generac people to visit every one and troubleshoot them all, because you know they should have oil changes, spark plugs, filters, and some of these, again, as we found, were not installed properly. So at least one we know doesn't have gas hooked up to it. So if we want all of the generators to perform properly and last, I think we need to care for it. So kind of working on that. I'll have more information at our next meeting. I don't know if all of them are being properly tested, you know, so there's just some questions that we need to continue to work on to get it tight. So I think we'll have hopefully more information at our next meeting.
And then Wes, back here with the Board of Education, we were discussing the generator, possibly getting one for the high school.
Okay, and that's something
And if you want to get with him, and I've discussed some things with him. And I guess because they are expanding the new gym facility, it would be a good thing to incorporate that into a new generator. So that's something we'll have to look at.
Okay.
Well, I think the size and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can continue working on verifying contact information and names. I'll get the information from you on serial numbers and warranty information, and then have hopefully a good quote. The one company I talked to, I just actually followed up with this morning, without ever seeing them and being there, they're kind of more of a time and material type thing, not knowing the conditions they're in and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information in our next meeting on each one of them.
We have a question.
I believe that Kreitz was to do the yearly, and all you pay for is the materials, okay?
But I don't believe that's been done.
Okay,
Right.
well, I don't know when, you have to have the date that was set up. That's the first thing. I also found out after hearing Mr. Adele speak at the county commission meeting about Smith School, they turned their gas off in the winter. This was not known until after the gas was installed. And the one fire department had cut through a water line, and that's whenever they gave up installing their generator.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
but all those things have to be, as a emergency planning, I think that's all information we need to know. We need to follow up
that's
on
fine.
it and
Pass it on.
verify that it's accurate, and then get them all working. We don't want generators sitting out there that aren't working.
Well, I believe that the county commission did something about the upkeep of them. I'm not sure. I know that it was in the works.
Before Pat left, he was working on a maintenance agreement with Kreitz, but it was not turned over with the original information that he left.
The yearly inspections come for free, that's
Well,
part
I know, but we don't have any documentation on hand. There was not, in the stuff that, there wasn't anything on that. If you could get with him and see if maybe he has a copy of that.
Pat, what's Pat's name?
It's
Randy?
Pat Easter. And
I'll give him a call and see if I can grab some information, Randy. I mean,
Didn't we have a contract here when this originally started with this company, and they went around and installed these in all these facilities?
That's what we're
That's what
discussing.
we're discussing. That's what
and
we're
that should Kreitz.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Like I said-
I'll give you, they sent me a copy of all of the stuff.
Well, just, I guess in the general sense of the thing, Jim, is trying to gather all this loose pieces of information and put it all in a central place so we all have it, because it's all kind of scattered, and we just want everyone to know that from the committee standpoint, these are the locations, they're all working, and they've all been serviced. So it takes a little bit of time to gather that information.
And I believe that Beth Keller would have all the warranty
my understanding
information.
that
We've checked with Beth,
Yeah,
and she
well,
doesn't have,
We don't have a copy.
The
With
agreement.
her receipt.
it's not, she's went through everything, she doesn't have a copy of it.
Well, we'll get in touch with Kreitz then and see if they can supply us with more information first.
Is it my understanding that one of the primary shelters was not open during the crisis?
We had all the
Fairview?
stuff. The only one was the Smith building,
Fairview.
because they don't have any gas.
Huh?
Fairview had arrangements with Fairview that if we needed them, if we had visitors at the park that needed shelter, they would then supply food. They're not a shelter. People don't stay there. They're just a food supplier.
That's all right.
Okay.
But didn't the county buy a generator for them people?
No,
They did not.
No.
Well, I was told they did.
nope, that was
They
with their
didn't
building.
purchase one for
They
them.
bought it themselves.
I'm guessing so.
They're,
Because we didn't, the county itself didn't purchase it.
Okay.
Okay.
but we made arrangements that if needed, they would supply food. Yeah.
And the only one that wasn't open was the Smith building, because they didn't have any gas, so we couldn't open that as a shelter.
They may have to put a bottle gas there.
That's what we're looking at.
To substitute, because all you have to do is put
Yeah.
a change over on the generator, just flip the switch.
And that's what we'll address that portion of it. And that's what they're working on.
I don't know who, I don't remember who it was, I threw it in the trash, but I received from Pennsboro, someone wanted to service air generator at the Grange for $29 or $30 a year. And because I have no MOU, we have no agreements or anything, or who's responsible for anything in here. And this all needs to be ironed out.
Yeah, for the generators?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm working on. Yeah.
It
So
needs to
Amanda
be
and
ironed out.
yeah, that's what we're working on.
Okay, anything else on that?
God, no.
Okay. I'm going to table the terrorism. I didn't make copies of it. I'll send out an email to everybody. You guys can look over the annex for terrorism, and we'll go ahead and I'll bring some copies in at the next meeting. We'll move to Tier 2 reports. For those that don't know, those are hazardous materials reports. They're supposed to be emailed to our office, but in looking, they're still being emailed to Pat Easter's office. And I've emailed Pat to see if he can forward all of that information to us so that we can get the Tier 2 reports and work on those as well. So until I get any information from Pat, we'll just have to kind of wait and see what we get from the companies and if Pat has anything. And then, because they're mandatory, they go by digital. They're no longer mailed unless they're mailed to the fire departments. That's it. So everything that was done will be emailed to Pat. So I'm hoping he has them and he can send them to us.
Let me ask this question. Who is responsible for the restoration of tanks and keeping up with this on the tanks? The water bill that was passed last year in the legislature, they're updating it now again on the restoration of tanks. Who is responsible? What office is responsible for seeing that these tanks are registered and maintained?
What tanks?
The above ground storage tanks?
Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
John, you know?
I think it's DEP, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's DEP.
I'm pretty sure it's DEP and DHHR and the State Homeland Security and Emergency Management are all working together on that project. So it's not, I think that the locals can help with that report, but it's not the responsibility of the locals. The state officers are taking.
And under the law on this restoration of the tanks, do we have to have in the counties show the location where these tanks are located?
They're supposed to send that in their THIRA, or not the THIRA, but then in their Tier 2 report, they would send that information. If it's a reportable quantity, which they should be. But they would send us the location and they would send us all the information on it.
Isn't that part of the slot thing?
Yeah, it's also part of the Tier 2 reporting, yeah. But like I said, as of yet, the email address the state had was Pat Easter's. So I'm hoping he'll forward all that to our office.
Well, I know under the new law that you're at, well, I don't know where they've acted on it or not, but it's on the floor now, or they're working on it in the legislature. That there are a lot of exemptions that were in the original law. Now there are a lot of exemptions that has been taken out of it based on the quantity of the tanks, how many gallons it holds and so forth, and what had. At one time, I would have had to register a 275-gallon diesel tank on my farm. Now that's been written off.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have all of that yet, so once it goes through and we get that, and like she said, like Denise said.
Will that come under you?
It's more going to be the state.
Yeah, the DEP and DHHR and, like I said, the State Homeland Security and Emergency Management, they're working on identifying all of those tanks. And once they get all that information, then it will be available to the local government.
It will not be our responsibility to go out there and inspect them. And
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that, but you, as an emergency planner, you should know where these. You should have some access and have knowledge of where these tanks are.
Yeah, that's the end goal. I think that's why the bill is being
And
discussed.
what's in them.
Right, exactly. Yeah. We're going to move to item 11, which is the fire report. We just got that. That just came across. I'll be working on that. I'll bring you guys a copy of it. Basically, it's a hazard and risk assessment for the county. We'll get groups together to work on different areas of it. I met with the fire department, the EMS departments, which are in the back, and I've requested that they give me any kind of information that they have, any needs that they have, so that we can make a report to the state. And I'll be bringing that in and we'll set up groups to work on various areas of it. And the first part of it is due April 1st. So we'll be working on it, and it just came out last week, I think it was, yeah. So we'll be getting it going on that. And then the last item is the American Red Cross. I spoke with, I forget what his name is, but they were wanting to do training. Or actually, I've had several of our fire departments ask for training. I called the Red Cross. There are classes that they can give in sheltering. There's classes they can give in other areas, and they're free. We just have to pick which ones we want. And he wanted me to pass along, they need volunteers in this county. There are no Red Cross volunteers in this county. So that's something they're looking at. So if you know anybody who wants to volunteer, and I'll be passing that information on the Facebook page. If you're interested in volunteering with the Red Cross, get a hold of our office, and we'll go ahead and pass your name along to them, and they'll get you set up in training and all that stuff. There's been a rash of fires throughout the state. We've had 5 fire fatalities in the last 2 weeks. Red Cross has been to pretty much everyone. They're needing help with people. So if you know anybody that's willing to volunteer their time, let me know.
In the training for the American Red Cross, what type of training? What
They have sheltering training, they have the CPR first aid, and there's other classes that they offer. But I was more the sheltering.
Okay.
Greenwood Fire Department, there's a shelter and they asked about the class.
Okay, cool.
And I told them I'd get in touch with them. So all we have to do is set up a time and a place and they'll come out.
If you're interested in a location that can hold a few more people, just give me a call. I'm
Yeah.
sure we can try to
Yeah.
schedule something.
Right. So anybody got any other questions? All right, because if not, we'll go ahead and...
Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Meeting is adjourned.
Anybody got anything to question?
Hello there, Mr. Hopper. How are you? Great, good to see you.
I've sat through so many bad meetings and so many reports I can tell you
Yes, that was nice to meet
He's already in reserve.
I'm Fred Big, and he's from there, so I'm not, yeah, because of what?
Yeah, that's well, as long as it is. Yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry, but whenever they get out of the park, okay.
Well, I know, that's what I'm saying.
You know, it's just, I mean, the one still hasn't been, two of them. I got my plan. Right, sure. They've been plastic. Now, you need me to go home because I know like 10 to 20,000 views today. It's been a back check. I can't find it. So I have to yeah. And it got
It might have to.
it's we have challenges.
Riches or if it's not right.
My restrictions may be so coaches.
Well, no, definitely, I can definitely.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it says not messages and real estate, they such and such, really stuff
We just got it. Like sources,
See, Nick 15.
so frights. But if George has the information
Yeah, I do. And I think I'm walking you in.
That's all right. Yeah, it's cool.
I'm pretty sure George doesn't believe it.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
Yeah, that's all, you got that.
Hey, thanks for coming out. We'll work on it. All right, man, you got anything on? All right, see you. All right, take care. That's gonna be a large generator, so I'm hoping Greg, Robertson said, the county, I guess they have express, so anything we can get. Well, I need to sign the sheet. Be there in a second, I gotta get my sign in. This is the weather. Just hasn't. Oh,
Someone will lift you.
Well, yeah, we know that. I don't know if it's,
She went there, and she got her.
I don't know why we told it from the spot, and it's not a.
Thanks for putting it all together. You're welcome.
Here you go.
I might not be able to.
Thanks. I appreciate it. You got the other one?
Welcome.
I mean, I don't even know.
It'll get better. What I'll do is, I'll just go over the product and you'll see how that works.
Yeah.
It doesn't, they do basically how I usually do it, where it's just very informal.
And this is the one.
Yeah.
You get to work.
Well, I don't know how, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure you get it. Yeah.
It's still like that. What I think was the impact on part of the water, even if we do or don't put it out there.
The state expert.
But the money talks.
We're just gonna watch me. The first thing you're making over, we're running legs, you're so well.
Can we stop by?